Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Friday. I've got a new Yu-Gi-Oh video for you guys. I'm really excited to bring this one to you. So, I have been working something out in my head, and I finally put it into practice. I built this on both Master Duel and in real life. It's a little bit different between the two, and I'll explain why in a second. But we are playing Cyber Dragon Orcust. Now, this is a deck that I experimented with a little bit when a few years ago. Because when the Orcust first came out, Orcs were a little expensive, so I didn't end up making the deck. But now everything's pennies. I've got the full deck list. I looked up some profiles, mixed and matched what I liked, tested it, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I made two changes on Master Duel because Master Duel has a different ban list, and I'll explain to you guys what I did differently. This is the deck list we're going to be playing today on Master Duel. If you guys want me to run through and talk about it, or talk about what I'm doing for it IRL, I'll be glad to do that. But I've got a really cool gameplay for you. It's one game. I really got to go off of the deck, and I really want to show you guys. If you guys are new to the gameplay, please drop a like, subscribe if you're new. Let's jump into the game and check it out. So in this game, we had lost the rock paper scissors. We're going second, and our opponent was playing Resonator, Red Dragon Archfiend thing. I don't know what you would call it. It was cool. He starts off Resonator Call, such as Crimson Resonator. Our starting hand is actually fire. The cool thing about this build is since it plays a scrap engine, we basically have 8 starters to get the deck going. Opening 2 imperms was actually fantastic. The only hand traps we play in this deck are actually 3 imperms and 2 Ash Blossoms, as you guys saw in the build before. It plays just fine. I don't know what this card is, but he just uses it as synchro material. Makes Red Rising Dragon. Red Rising Dragon has an effect of special summon a Resonator. So, rather than let him get a free body back from the grave, this is the card I decided to imperm. The downside to this hand is the fact that we opened up Scrap Golem. Scrap Golem is one of the few cards you don't want to see in your hand, because you usually summon Scrap Golem from the deck with Scrap Wyvern, but that only summons from the deck. Real quick, while he's finishing his play. So the differences between Master Duel and IRL, for one, in Master Duel, Galatea is at 1, where I believe it's unlimited in the TCG. I play 2 copies of Galatea in real life, and it's a great card because you can make Dingirsu and then link it into Galatea, so your negate is live, while also having Dingirsu set up in the graveyard. I pray it comes back, but in Master Duel, we're allowed 1 Heart Pour, whereas in the TCG, it's banned. So the difference between real life and here is World 1. I play 1 copy of World 1 in Master Duel. I play 2 copies in real life because ending up with World 1 in hand sucks. So our opponent made a level 8. For anybody that doesn't know what this card does, it lets your opponent excavate the top 5 cards of the deck and add either a light or a dark to their hand, and then mill the rest. He ends up adding another Resonator. Sorry, mill. It sends the rest of the graveyard. Alright. Now we're up. So, we start off with our draw. Symbol Skeleton. Seeing too many Orcust cards in the hand is the only downside to this version of the deck, because you don't want to see too many in hand. There are plenty of ways to get it out. 1 for 1, Brass Bomber, discarding for Naxxter, which is what we do here. Things like that. So we end up searching Naxxter because we want to start getting cards out of our hand, and we already have Scrap Recycler as a starter. So we summon Scrap Recycler. Our opponent does not negate the Scrap Recycler, so we end up sending Orcust Nightmare to the grave. Orcust Nightmare is basically what gets the deck going. Now, I could have immediately gone into Orcust combo, but with what I had in my hand, I wanted to extend a little bit, get a little more bodies on the field, try and get a better setup. So we end up summoning Naxxter. We discard the Symbol Skeleton, which is great. The Symbol Skeleton's great effect is bonkers. Special summons an Orcust monster from the grave. Now that we have two bodies, we link in the Scrap Wyvern. Tongue Twister. Everybody doesn't know what Scrap Wyvern does. When it's synchro summoned, you could summon a Earth Machine monster from your graveyard, and then you have to destroy one card you control. And then if it's a scrap monster gets destroyed, which we just triggered its own effect by popping Scrap Recycler, you get to summon a scrap monster from the deck. Normally you would get Golem, and then Golem would summon Scrap Recycler back from the grave, but obviously we can't. Kind of made him a little bit of a misplay here, not realizing that Scrap Recycle misses timing on its effect because it's a one effect. But it's fine. It's not a hard once per turn, so you can't abuse it. That's why this whole engine kind of brings Cyber Dragon and Orcust together. But now we've got a few more bodies in our graveyard, a few more effects to go. We end up using some Symbol Skeleton to summon the Nightmare from the graveyard. Now we start our link plays, because now, once we do use our first Orcust effect, we're locked into Darks. So now we're going to go into Galatea. Now Galatea's effect, for anybody that doesn't know what Galatea does, you take one of your banished machine monsters, shuffle it back into the deck, and set an Orcust Spell or Trap card. The Spell and Trap cards we're running, I'll rewind it real quick so you guys can see, in case you skipped the profile of the deck before. We're playing one Babel. Babel is a field spell that lets all your Orcust effects become quick effects. It's amazing. And it can bring itself back by discarding your card if it's in the graveyard. Orchestrated Return, you can discard an Orcust monster from your hand or send one from the field to the graveyard, draw 2 cards. It's great draw power. It's a great way to get more Orcust cards out of your hand, and giving Cyber Dragon's draw effect, I mean, it just was a match made in heaven. And then Orchestrated Crescendo is an Omni Negate while you have Galatea on the board, well, an Orcust Link monster. But its second effect is what makes it really, really good. While it's in your graveyard, you can banish it from the graveyard to add an Orcust monster from your deck to your hand, but you're locked into Darks for the rest of the turn. And because it's a trap card, it spells B2, you can actually use the graveyard effect on your opponent's end phase. Or anytime during your opponent's turn. So we set Babel, turn all our effects into quick effects. And then we go into Dingirsu. Dingirsu is great for Cyber Dragon because it has 2600 defense, so Naxter can bring it back from the grave. It's a non-target removal, and it can protect a card being destroyed by Babel or card effect by detaching material. Actually, it protects your entire board. So if you get Lightning Storm or Geki, you just detach material on that and all your cards are safe. See, right there was asking us if we want to chain Nightmare because of Babel. So we go to battle phase, swing for 26. Now, it doesn't look like we have a whole lot here, but our setup is actually pretty strong. We've got Ding on the board, which again has its destruction protection. We have a Nightmare in the graveyard, so Nightmare gives us access to every Orcust in our deck because we can banish Nightmare, target Dingirsu, send any Orcust or World Legacy monsters. We can send World 1 to the grave. And he's going to gain attack points off of that, but then their effects are now quick effects in the graveyard. So say they destroyed Dingirsu, we detach Galatea. Now we can get rid of Nightmare, send Symbol Skeleton, pump up Dingirsu a little bit, and then use Symbol Skeleton to bring out Galatea, and then use Galatea to set another Orcust spell drop card, and return a card back to the deck. It flows so well, and that's just the Orcust package. There's actually a 2-card combo, Cyber Dragons, that lets you play into all the Orcust cards. This dragon can bring itself back by banishing a light or a dark. And since he's playing Resonators, they're all darks. Oh, a light and a dark, my bad. All the Resonators are darks, so he brings it back really easy. He kind of goes off a little bit. You can make a level 10 now. But now Crimson Resonator, I believe let's special summon another Resonator. Yeah, 2, let's special summon 2. I was trying to decide if I should negate it with Infirm there. There's 1. Again, just hanging out. Waiting for him to give me a reason to activate something. And I know this isn't necessarily a meta defining deck I'm playing against, but I actually played against yesterday Prank Kids at full power. It was Adventure Prank Kids. And I was actually able to take the W because I was able to keep on recurring and just slowly whittle down their field until they had nothing left to go off with. I was very proud. The game took forever, but I was very happy with it. So Archfiend King Calamity, basically if his effect goes off, all my stuff gets shut off. I can't activate anything for the rest of the turn. Just because I didn't want that to happen. I forgot you can't respond to it either. The thing about this is, it stops you from activating anything on the board. We're still allowed to use our graveyard effects. So, because we have Babel on the field, we still have access to our entire graveyard. So check out what we do here. Right there, I was just deciding if I should use Nightmare or not, because I know he's going to swing into Ding. $4,000's a big boy. But we just let him swing into Ding. I probably could have used Nightmare just to take a little bit less damage, but I just wanted to save the Nightmare. Let's see, now Dingirsu should be destroyed by battle because of his own effect. Actually got his hand sick. Oop. And now with Galatea in the game, we can start doing some other cool plays. IRL, it's a little bit easier because we have 2 Galatea, so we can link Dingirsu into another Galatea. It's a little bit tougher playing around having only 1. So this is why I said I should have just used the Nightmare, because now we're using the Nightmare anyway to send Symbol Skulls into the grave. And this is all my points end phase. Now we're using Symbol Skeleton to bring out Galatea. I'm not 100% sure why, but it wouldn't let me use Galatea's effect on the phase. I would have loved to be able to send a card back and send an Orchestrated return, but it is what it is. So here's what we do now. We're gonna send Nightmare back to deck to set Orchestrated return. I was gonna get Crescendo, but the only problem with Crescendo is you have to keep Galatea on the board, since it's the only link monster we're playing. And I wanted to draw cards, get potential combo pieces, and get more ability to clear the board. I also have Symbol Skeleton in the grave, so I know I can immediately bring out Dingirsu if I need to. That's a quick effect. Again, bonkers. Oh! Another reason this deck synergizes so well, before I forget. Orchestrated Nightmare is a machine monster with only 100 attack points. It's a goddamn machine dupe target. So you can machine dupe it into 3 Nightmares and then just go off. Even though we only play 2 Nightmare in this build, it's still great because you only need 2 monsters to go off with Orcust. Like, I forgot all about that. The thing about this deck is that it has so many tricks to it. Like, as I've been playing it, I've been learning more and more about it. Things I forgot about it. Like the fact that Babel makes even Galatea a quick effect, which is silly, because you can summon Galatea, get your Crescendo on your opponent's turn, set a return, so when you get back to your turn, you draw extra cards. Like, it's just... Now, this was a small issue I had. I was locked into... I wasn't locked in anything. I need more Link 2s. I'm actually considering cutting an Infinity and a Nova to make room for other Link monsters, but I really gotta plan that out a little better. Hold on 1 second. Okay, So I just wanted to go back and talk about what happened. So we ended up normal summoning Harp Horror because we needed to get into our other Orcust monsters in the deck. Now what I should have done here was I should have swung with what I had instead of linking right away. That was me double checking if I had a machine monster in hand to summon Platinum Gadget. I didn't. So we go to. This is also where I could have made the second Galatea if I had it, to get Harp Horror into the grave to start getting all my other cards back. The only issue I sometimes run into in the later game is as I'm trying to get to other Orcust cards, I have trouble getting them into the grave just because I don't have enough generic links. So that's the only little problem I have here. Like I just made Nightmare Phoenix just to make it, and now we have Harp Horror in the grave. So now we can use Harp Horror to summon Symbol Skeleton. God, say that 5 times fast. But again, then we have no way to get Symbol Skeleton into the graveyard. So I was trying to figure out what I should do here. Oh. See, even if I had gone Nightmare with Machine Duke, I didn't have a link 2 to make besides Platinum Gadget. Oh, the combos for this were really long, so I started actually running out of time, which just never happened to me in Master Duel. See, that was not a good play. That's why that's part of the reason I grabbed Nightmare instead of Symbol Skeleton, as I started freaking out. Because now we swing into a monster, lose life points. Excuse me. Now we go to main phase 2, use Nightmare to pump up Phoenix. Which gets us our Symbol Skeleton in the grave. So as you can see, the misplay started piling up a little bit. And see, we're running out of time now, so now I'm trying to hurry. So now we use Symbol Skeleton, get back Ding. Hurry, 19 seconds, 18, 17. We summon Ding, and we send a Calamity to the graveyard. Running out of time. Send it! Send it! Oh my god, oh my god. I immediately ended turn. I wanted to set the overflow because I don't know if you guys remember, we have a Nexter in the graveyard. So we lost out on that potential pop because we're running out of time. We've got 5 seconds left. Thankfully, you get some time when you go into your turn, but man, was it not enough. Our opponent now links with the House of Fibers. Yes. Goes to use effect to summon a tutor from the deck. The second imperm that we've had since the beginning of the game. Clutch. 1 second left because of how long our response is. We couldn't respond to anything now if we wanted to, otherwise we would just lose. But thankfully, we didn't have any other plays. He's thinking. Pass his turn. Now at the start of our turn, we get an extra 60 seconds, so we have 60 seconds to make a full move. So, to start off, checking out what I have left in the graveyard. And now, we normal summon the Scrap Golem from our hand. Honestly, I probably should have attributed Dingirsu here, because we basically would have been guaranteed game. I could have attributed the Dingirsu, played the Rev system, used the Rev system to get Naxter from the grave. Naxter would have got Dingirsu, well, he probably would have tributed off by then. But if it didn't send the help, we could have added an Eternal to it. And then we could have machine duped the Naxter into 2 more Cyber Dragons. Which is kind of what we tried to go for, but we ended up running into a little bit of a problem. Just, if we had tributed the Dingirsu instead of the Phoenix, it would have just been that much better overboard. We would have ended on Dingirsu with Infinity. recycler just to get more bodies into the grave. Oh, that's another thing. You could send Hertz to add back a Cyber Dragon. See, I didn't need to do all this. Like, looking at the game a second time, I realized I could have done better. But again, that timing was freaking me out. Look at it, we got 20 seconds left. I'm playing Machine Dupe to get 1 card. That's another thing. I wish Scrap Golem was a machine, because if it was a machine, it would be just another outlet to getting into Cyber Dragon. But then we just swing away. 3 and 26 for the G's. Alright, and that's the end of that. Like I said, I'm having a lot of fun with this deck. I made it IRL. It can get a little bricky, but I mean, Cyber Dragons were already pretty bricky. It doesn't play as many hand traps, but it gives you a lot more access to plays during your opponent's turn. You get more disruptions out of your graveyard than you would have just had playing extra hand traps. It can go first, it can go second. If you guys want to see a combo video with some of the combos that I can make, the absolute most broken board I think I've been able to make with it was an Infinity, a God's Head with a Crescendo, a Babel, and still have 1 or 2 cards left for other stuff. If you guys enjoyed the video, again, like, subscribe if you're new. Whatever else you guys want to see, let me know in the comments. Deck profile, combo video, I'm down. If you guys want to check me out on social media, those links will also be down below. That's it for me. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow with another video. Later. We gon' ghost them when we pull out with them shells. Hop out the surface, we giving out them L's. I'm with that psycho, we raising hell. I'm motorcycle, no Akira, I'm out for man.